Shade Tree Gunsmithing. How you doing? Well, we're back at you again now, and this time on this video, before we showed you the 1022 building it, putting it together, and I had done everything to it but redone the stock, and so then, you know, on the previous video we started redoing the stock. Now what makes this a little different than what the other ones were, or any of the other stocks that you've seen, is the finish process. And as it would have it back years ago, like we'd said in the previous video, that we used coal tar and gasoline. Well, I called the asphalt place, and they said that because of EPA and all that other stuff, that, you know, they couldn't give me anything, but they told me what I could pick up, so I picked this up. And the only difference was we was going to use lacquer thinner, and lacquer thinner wouldn't even phase it. And so we went to the old method. Matter of fact, I asked them what would clean it up, and they said diesel fuel or gasoline would clean it up. And I told them, I said, well, I sure don't want to use diesel fuel because of the oil in it. So we're going to end up being able to use the gasoline. I went over and got some 100% gas, and we squirted about, I'd say about half the size of a golf ball in here. And as you can see, the amount of gas that we put in it, and we've been shaking it, you know, and diluting it and everything. And so what we'll do, we've done got a little bit on us again, we'll get our gloves on here, and we had to make us, we didn't want to use our checkering cradle for getting this on it, and so we just made this little stand here, and spring loaded it. You can see we can raise it up, do the end of it, set it down in there, and it runs right where the band's going to be, so if it leaves a mark at all, the band's going to cover it. But let me get these gloves on. I guess first I better get these high-tech glasses, put them things on where I can see it well. I can see it. Well, you know, there's a gun stock sitting there. But anyway, we'll now, I don't know if this fan's behind me or not, but what it is, I've got that blowing heat off the stove over here, had it over here. Ever since I got the stove going, I got it hitting it, and it's blowing out this way. Of course, I'm kind of blocking it a little bit. Really, I guess I'm blocking the whole thing, I don't know. But anyway, it's got the gun stock, you know, fairly warm. And but we'll put this on. We're going to show you a different technique of you know, refinishing the gun stock, and then at the end of the video, you make up your own mind. I mean, you know, this is my firearm. This is for me. I'm not doing it for someone. But what we do, we use this as the stain, and then we use True Oil. We'll put, you know, 3, 4, 5 coats on it with that. Depends on what it takes, you know, to get it the way we want it. And then we'll use candle wax. I'll step out, well, right here it is. I've got candle wax that I use on them. That's another old method, but you know, you put it on, and then you rub it in real good and everything else, and as you keep rubbing it, it brings that sheen or shine or whatever you want to call it on it. And but it seals it good. That way, if you're out here and you're shooting a gun, and in the summertime and one of them little summer showers jump up on you, or if you're out here rabbit hunting, start snowing or whatever, you don't have to worry about the stock. So anyway, we'll get started on this thing real quick here. And I'll give you a little warning. If you smoke, don't smoke while you're doing this. You know, because if you do, it's going to light up your world. Ain't no doubt on that. Let me set this out just over here out of the way. I don't want to knock, you know, get it everywhere. Don't want to get it on my wax. Set it over there. So what we're going to do, we just take this, run it all the way down it. You know, raise this up to the end first. Get it on it. Let it roll out. And then I want you to see when I turn this over how that brings that out there. Look at that. get it covered completely, what I like to do, it just kind of smooths everything out, you know, gets it all kind of uniform. Of course, that gas is going to evaporate in a heartbeat anyway. I like to grab me a clean rag, and I like to wipe it down. Now, it's the way my papaw, who built guns, repaired guns, built stocks. He's the one that taught me how to make a stock. This is how he did it. Some of that we got on the rag. We'll do this little top trough here. Just make sure we got it all on there. Look it over a little bit. All right, I believe we're good. Now what we're going to do, we're going to take a hair dryer and we're going to dry this. As you can see, the gasoline is just about evaporated already. This might be a little noisy. Take these gloves off and see. Oh yeah. What we're going to do now, we're going to take a clean rag just to make sure it's good and clean. Just wipe it down. But there's none of that tar residue. You can see a little bit right there on the rag. It just, you know, you can see a little bit where we wiped it off. And it don't take long for this to dry. Now it's dry to the touch now, you know, everywhere. But we just want to make sure, you know, of course, like I said, we had our stock warm, and that helps in the drying process. I mean, you know, it just, it will definitely. Now I use True Oil, and right here it is. I got it warm. A lot of guys just take it straight out of the thing, but I've got it warm. We're going to try to get all this done in one video. You know, the first part was us stripping it down and sanding it, you know, and we, off camera, we sanded this thing completely, I think about 4 times. Each time we would take and wet it, then take a hot air gun, not the hair dryer, but the hot air gun, and we would hit it. That would raise the grain, then we would, you know, sand it down again. We kept doing, you know, 400, and the last sanding we done was with 600 grit. And that's just as smooth right now, you know, there's no, if it had a sheen to it, I'd leave it the way it is. It's a slick. But I mean, you know, gotta finish it. Everything's got a beginning and got an end. And so, but now the way, you know, I've seen a lot of guys take it, they just stick it on their finger and, you know, and all that stuff. Well, I don't do that. Here's what I do. We just pour some of this out in our hand. Nice and slow and easy. There we go. And then we just put it in another hand too. And then we just grab a hold, we start working it up and down it with our hand. Both hands. Smearing it in, smearing it over, you know. All the comments probably go crazy over this, but you know what? Everybody's got their way of doing it. I'm just showing you an old-fashioned way. Now, we didn't have True Oil back when we first started. We used linseed oil. But now I'm going to tell you, that is a long process, and you know, I've got other things that I need to do, plus you know, the cameraman, he can't, you know, he's got a full-time, full-time job, and we, you know, so we're kind of mixing a little bit of the old with the new. The main thing is we showed you what the coal tar and gasoline is going to do as far as the grain and the finish and all that stuff. You know, we just keep wiping this thing. We don't want any runs in it. And trust me, it's warm, and well, it'll settle down there, and that will make for a beautiful stock when we're done with it. Now, I'm telling you, you just have to trust us in that matter. And now you can see from the camera the grain, how it makes that grain stand out in that wood. You know, and that's what we're after, is showing the grain, not hiding it. You know, a lot of people, they'll stain a stock or something, refinish it, and they'll put so much stain on there, it covers up that grain. You know, the grain's what shows the beauty of the wood, you know. And so, just keep rubbing it around there. Make sure we don't get any runs in it. Sure don't want no runs. Of course, what we'll do is when this dries, I've got a lot of them use 4/0 steel wool. Well, what I use is automotive Scotch-Brite. It's what they put the finishing touch on when they're sanding and stuff like that. You know, to paint a car, to get it slick. I did that on the hood of my truck before I airbrushed it. And that's something that one of these days we'll get the cameraman to take a shot of, is that rim on the hood of my truck. Now I got a little secret. I don't know, some of you may know it, some of you may not. They go, I like that true oil, but boy, it's a pain in the butt to get off your hands. If you just go in the house, and I'm sure that your wife, or if you're not married like me, you're a cook, you cook your own food. And so, if you cook any or anything else like that, you got cooking oil in the house. And you just put a little bit of that cooking oil in your hands and rub it around. You know, rubbing it in. And then just get you some dish soap. Meanwhile, you got warm water running. Get you some dish soap, and just take and wash your hands like normal with that dish soap, and it'll come right off. And that right there feels pretty good for the first coat of that stuff. And we'll Scotch-Brite it, smooth it all out, make sure there's no runs or anything. Of course, I don't feel them with my fingers anyway, and so, you know, we'll leave that right like that, and put the lid on this right now. I'm going to try to speed up the process just a little bit, and I'm going to use my hair dryer on it and try to dry it to where we can, I usually leave it setting, you know, about 24 hours. And then that way, you know, everything just dries good and stuff. And I've got it pretty warm out here. I'd say it's probably about 75 degrees out here right at the moment, especially up here next to this. you know, we're taking the hair dryer to it, but it's real tacky. So what we're going to do, we're going to just let it set and cure out, and we'll check it periodically. And when it's ready, then we'll get back on here and show you the next step. You know, but what we just done, you know, except for the Scotch brightening, we'll probably do 5 or 6 times. You know, so we'll catch you in a little bit. All right, we've got the cameraman had to leave there for a little bit, and I'm not camera smart. I'm lucky I don't break the lens when I look at it. You know, we went through so many of them that happened. But anyway, while he was gone, I took my Scotch Brite. You can see some of the residue in it now from when we Scotch Brited it. And we got 3 coats on it, and you can kind of see what it's starting to look like. That's up to the individual on how many coats of true oil they want to put on there. If that's what they use, that's what I use on every gun stock that I redo for people and stuff like that, or make from scratch. I've got a 25-06 that I told you I'm going to showcase here before long. I made it from a chunk of walnut. I've got one right up there, a chunk laying up there, and for another gun stock. But anyway, yeah, I'm going to put, I want a real super high gloss on this. So it'll probably take, I'm going to say at least 3 more coats of it like that. And then once I get get it to where I like it, then I'll take the candle wax and I'll go all over the thing, and then I'll just rub all that in with a paper towel, or I've got these, what I do is I go to the thrift store, and I think I told you once before, I use these for airbrushing too, practice. But I just buy these sheets, you know, they're a couple of dollars, and Lord, I use them and use them and use them. I cut them out of the sheets, and then that way, you know, that's what I wipe them down with and everything else, and that's what I'll rub that. Maybe not with this one, that was a little dirty. I've got clean ones over there. But we'll rub that candle wax in on it, and then we'll just let you, you know, but you know, you can see right now what kind of finish and the grain. That's why I like the coal tar and gasoline as a stain. What it does is it will pull that grain out to where you can see it. Now, I mean, now you can tell from looking at it from here to there. You can see the darkness in the wood, you know, where the wood changed color. It's not any heavier. The stain wouldn't put on any heavier there, because in that block of wood as it come, it got dark right in here, and then it lined up, you know, the grain changed a little angle, and so you see every bit of that when you use that. And so being able to see that grain being popped, that's what I called it. Pops that grain out. I've heard guys talk about, oh, I finished the stock and man, it popped. You know, right here's what popping is. When you can see every little bit of grain in that wood coming out, you know, and you still got your darkness color, but by the time we get the gloss done on it and everything else, you know, I'm fixing it to please me, and I'll just tell you, it's my firearm. This is going to end up a 3-part series, just sure as I'm standing here, because I've got a Wilson peep sight that I want to put on the 1022. That's what this goes on, that aftermarket 1022. And so I've got a different clip system for it. So the 3rd part will be us with the finished stock, putting the whole gun together, and then installing the Wilson peep sight on it. You know, and that will look, you know, that will be as close to an M1 carbine as I can get and still have a Ruger 1022. So, you know, but right here we're just going to turn it slow so you can kind of just look at the grain in that thing. And like I say, this is only 3 coats that I put on it, and I've not buffed this one yet with the Scotch Brite, but we will. And then, you know, but that's what it looks like, and you can make up your own mind whether or not the coal tar and gasoline is a winner or if it's a downer or whatever it is. I don't know. But give me a thumbs up on that thing. You know, it don't cost you nothing to give a thumbs up or a thumbs down, either one. If you like it, down it. If you like it, give me a thumbs up. If you don't like it, stick a thumb down on there. I mean, you know, you can't win all the time. You know, I learned that a long time ago, and you can't please everybody all the time, so if one or two of you don't like it, well, that's fine. That's fine. I don't lose no sleep over it. I mean, you know, I would rather be able to please everybody, but, you know, I know that ain't going to happen. So I don't, you know, count my chickens before they hatch, you know what I'm saying? And, but anyway, this is it. Using the coal tar and gasoline, and you'll see the finished product of it. I'll mention that again. And, you know, this is after the New Year, so, I mean, you know, we're going to do a lot more firearm videos and stuff like that, and a lot more airbrushing. It seems like we're getting a lot of requests for more airbrushing, more tutorials on that, so we'll do that. And the leather work. We're not going to forget that leather work. You know, we just kind of right now, we've got some orders for some wallets, and we just, you know, I like, when I get on a project, unless I'm able to pull off of it and start something else, then I like to stay on that project. That way you don't have 40 projects going and nothing done. You know what I'm saying? I like to get it done. You know, like, what was that guy? I can't remember what his name was. He'd always go, "Get her done." Well, you know, Larry the Cable Guy, that's it. I know that I think of it. Well, that's me. I like to get her done. So, I mean, you know, catch y'all later. Bill Nichols, Shade Tree Gunsmithing and Leatherworking, and we'll catch you on the next video about the 1022, redoing the stock, and just, I'll put it this way, a custom built.